Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier, and thanks as always for stopping by. I like this tweet. Want to be a better dad in 2017? Science says do this. A great dad is extremely loyal and is always there for his children. He puts family first. Even if his relationship doesn't work out, he never abandons his children, no matter what. Any fool with a DICK can make a baby, but only a real man can raise his children. Lawrence Fishburne, Furious Styles, and Boys in the Hood. Great dads aren't afraid to show their children how much they love them. A study by the University of Connecticut, researchers examined the effects of parental rejection and acceptance. Their conclusions were that the love of a father is one of the biggest influences on a child's personality development. A great father is respectful of women. He leads by example and shows his son how to treat a lady. He teaches his daughters that they deserve to be treated with respect by men, not to accept anything less. He works hard to provide for his family. He has a successful career. He realizes that his most important job is the work he does at home as a dad. It's been a privilege to be the father of 3 daughters. It really has, all different. I like this photograph of A Weiwei. You'll have to click on the link to find out what it's all about. If you haven't watched the function I moderated with Jack Ma, please take a look. It's really very, very good, I thought. Macro thoughts. This is from Mark Gilbert. Boom! And this was when the euro surged to 117 plus yesterday. I looked momentarily. Boom, we were up there. And the next thing I saw, we were at 116.50. We're currently at 116.21. We can go as low as 114.50. Jamie at Reuters, implied volatility of US stocks as measured by the VIX index hit 9.04 today, the lowest since 1993, and almost the lowest since the index was launched in 1990. And that took me back to that phrase, halcyon days, from Latin Alisone, daughter of Aeolus and the wife of Ceos. When her husband died in a shipwreck, Alisone threw herself into the sea, whereupon the gods transformed them both into halcyon birds, which are kingfishers. When Alisone made her nest on the beach, waves threatened to destroy it. Aeolus restrained his winds and kept them calm during 7 days in each year, so she could lay her eggs. These became known as the halcyon days, when storms do not occur. Today the term is used to denote a past period that is being remembered for being happy and or successful. And Holger tweeted, fear index VIX dropped to an all-time low. We're in those halcyon moments, I think. Konzum Nyrt soaring more than 50-fold on the Budapest exchange at one point. Sales at the Hungarian conglomerate Konzum Nyrt dropped 99% last year. Its short-term debt ballooned 7-fold and cut its staff by 86%. This year, Konzum is the world's best-performing stock. Its shares soaring more than 50-fold on the Budapest exchange at one point. The company has a market value of about $142 million. Maybe I'm smarter than Mark Zuckerberg, said Lorik Mintzaros, a former gas fitter who in February sparked the rally when he bought a 20% stake in Konzum, speaking to reporters last month. Home Thoughts, Daily Kerouac, the road must eventually lead to the whole world. Ain't nowhere else it can go, right? And then David Yarrow took me back to the Amboseli. He tweeted, Amboseli is the best canvas in the world on which to photograph elephants. And take a look at his photograph. Amboseli National Park, formerly the Masai Amboseli Game Reserve, is in Kajiado. The park is 392 square kilometers in size, at the core of an 8,000 square kilometers ecosystem that spreads across the Kenyan and Tanzanian border. The local people are mainly Maasai, but people from other parts of the country have settled there, attracted by the successful tourist economy. The park protects 2 of the 5 main swamps and includes a dried up Pleistocene lake and semi-arid vegetation. The park is famous for being the best place in the world to get close to free-ranging elephants. Other attractions of the park include opportunities to meet Maasai. Visit a Maasai village. The park also offers spectacular views of Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest freestanding mountain in the world. And what you see there is elephants, buffalo, impala, lion, cheetah, spotted hyena, giraffe, plain zebras, and blue wildebeest. This is a photograph I took in September 2013 of some elephants as they crossed in front of us in the embassy. Look at that elephant from the back. It's a pretty big thing, and they're light as a feather. You can't even hear them. And then this is one from David Yarrow. I still find the sight of snow in East Africa totally incongruous. The white summit holds the eye. It is fabulous and surreal at the same time. And then I'll put up a photograph of an ostrich in the foreground and elephants in the background that I took. Political reflections. The Security Cabinet in Israel meets on alternative to Temple Mount metal detectors, and I was thinking to myself, Jerusalem is surely the epicenter of all flashpoints, is it not? And that, this is now a pressure cooker. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has taken a very weak position on Hillary Clinton crimes, where are emails and DNC server and intelligence leakers. This was tweeted by the Attorney General's President Donald Trump. My conclusion with that tweet is that insanity is the new normal. Unlike the more mercenary figures who surround Donald Trump, Jeff Sessions appears to be a MAGA true believer, says the New Yorker. And that's why I think the Senator in particular is horrified at the way he's being treated right now. Will cancer-stricken Senator John McCain help a draft dodger who called him a loser take health care from millions? Then this will be his legacy. David Corn in D.C. The American people have waited long enough. There's been enough talk and no action for 7 years. Now is the time for action. That's a Trump little video. Take a look at that. BBC Newsnight came across a snippet. Is President Trump at risk of impeachment? Have a listen, because it dovetails a lot into what I wrote in that piece of mine. We have a deviate tomahawk. Scaramucci, otherwise known as the Mooch, tweeted aboard Air Force One. I'll be on the record with this in candid conversations with the president. I've said, why would you fire him? Scaramucci told conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt. This is Robert Mueller, who is proving to be a fox. The arrival of summer will bring Brexit talks to a halt as the clock keeps ticking. India-China war of words becomes more critical. Saying on Monday, Beijing drew the red line for the benefit of Indian policymakers, huddling to finalize Doval's talking points in Beijing. The red line is that India must leave Chinese territory unconditionally, unilaterally, without further delay. For the first time, the Chinese Defense Ministry waded into the discourse with its spokesman, asserting that the People's Liberation Army will defend Chinese territory at all costs, disclosing that Chinese border troops have taken initial countermeasures at the site and will step up targeted deployment and training. The Global Times editorial underlined that New Delhi would give up any illusions, since PLA forces are being deployed to the border area and will take effective countermeasures. Importantly, it ended with a political message that the Modi government may face self-invited humiliation. An analogy has been drawn that India may face its most serious strategic setback since 1962. On the other hand, right-wing opinion in India continues to be that this is all Beijing's psy-war and that China's only bluffing. The argument that this is platinum-grade muscular diplomacy is predicated on the belief that what ensues may be a short, intense war in which the PLA simply cannot muster the forces necessary to overcome the 3 Indian Army divisions deployed in the vicinity of the theatre of contestation in Dokla. Wars are never fought at the military level alone. Comprehensive national power invariably comes into play, says Mr. Badrakumar. How long and weary the home stretch is going to be may become clear by this weekend. My conclusion is that it's a muscular Xi Jinping who struts the world stage, owns the South China Sea, and is staring down Narendra Modi. A Taiwanese indigenous defense fighter is seen here, monitoring a Chinese Xi'an H-6 bomber near Taiwan's air defense identification zone. President Erdogan says progress was made, but more time needed to resolve the Qatar crisis. 12th of June, I wrote a piece about Qatar, and I said Qatar called it hedging, its relationships with the likes of Turkey. And I said we're surely going to find out the value of these hedges over the next few days. Press freedom says all charges against Cumhuriyet's employees and board members should be dropped immediately. We aren't going to surrender any of the expense discipline we have worked into the muscle memory of our firm, said Citi after reporting some strong numbers. Citigroup climbed the most in 3 weeks after raising long-term forecasts for profitability and cost savings, up 2.8%. Expects return on tangible common equity, a measure of profitability, to increase to 11% by 2020. Reported a second quarter profit of $3.87 billion, or $1.28 a share, beating estimates of $1.21 a share. Revenue from bond trading fell less than expected. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro dollar, what a move yesterday, above 117, now at 116.20. Dollar index, key level of support 93.50, we're just above 94. Japanese yen, 111.85. Swiss franc 0.9527. The pound, we're expecting some GDP numbers, 130.17. Aussie dollar, inflation miss, quarter two, it was up 1.9%, estimate was 2.2%. We fell below 79, we're at 0.7898 right now. India rupee 64.425, South Korean won 1120.96, Brazilian real 317.27, Egyptian pound 17.9315, and then the rand 13.0680. This fellow following tea commodity, euro dollar, this is what I call a bull trap. Have a look at that. So went to a new high and then bosh. Blow off top, some people call it. I don't think it is. I think it just is a reversal, that the reversal can run further. The US dollar dive continues. The dollar index is down 9% since December. But, we're at key support now. Luxury British shoemaker Jimmy Choo has been sold to Michael Kors for £896 million. That's the shoe business for you. Oil just posted its biggest gain this year. Brent crude tops 50. Last time I looked, we're about $50.72. But as a warning sign, but we could go a little bit higher in the near term. Oil surge masks risk of Brent slumping to $40 after the summer without deeper output cuts by OPEC. Brent could go to $40 and even below, Gori said in an interview in Singapore on Tuesday. That's not necessarily what we're forecasting, but we don't know where exactly the market is going to trade and how bearish it's going to be. US crude futures settled at $47.89, up 3.34%. We're up at $48.33 now. Finally, the breakdown in gold. Last time I looked, we were at 12.45. Look at this chart. This is from triple leverage. And copper, a lot of people getting excited about copper. Had a big move. I'll put up a chart that I found from tea commodity. Moving on to Africa, the IMF put out an economic update, and this is what they said about sub-Saharan Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa, the outlook remains challenging. Growth is projected to rise in 2017 and 2018, but will barely return to positive territory in per capita terms this year for the region as a whole, and would remain negative for about a third of the countries in the region. Slight upward revision to 2017 growth relative to the April 2017 WEO forecast reflects a modest upgrading of growth prospects for South Africa, which is experiencing a bumper crop due to better rainfall. That whole belt down south, you remember I was in Zambia, I told you it was so green. Increase in mining output prompted by a moderate rebound in commodity prices. However, the outlook for South Africa remains difficult, with elevated political uncertainty and weak consumer and business confidence, and the country's growth forecast was consequently marked down for 2018. So the IMF, slight upward revision of 2017 growth relative to the April 2017 forecast for Africa. Fascinating article in the New York Times about President Kabila. When will Kabila go? Congolese leader long overstays his welcome. In Congo, they are calling it le glissement. The term meaning the slide in French describes the prospect of elections slipping away as President Joseph Kabila maneuvers to extend his 16-year rule, which has given him and his coterie vast riches, but done little for most ordinary citizens. The deeply unpopular Mr. Kabila was supposed to step down last December 20 at the end of his second term, as constitutionally mandated, but he refused, setting off a profound political and economic crisis whose resolution could turn chaotic and violent. The president needs to go, said Fiston and Tumba, 27, a motorcycle taxi driver in Kinshasa. By not going, he is seeking war, so we've decided to go to war too. An implosion of the DRC, a country almost the size of Western Europe, could spill into and involve some of the 9 countries it borders. We are waiting, said Elise Yenge, 57, a shopkeeper in the capital. We are praying to God for something to happen, because God can't let this suffering just go on. In a recent interview with the German newspaper, Mr. Kabila declared he had promised nothing in the December deal with the church. The economy is plummeting, partly because of lower prices for raw materials and partly because of general mismanagement. Growth has shrunk from the double digits a few years ago to just below 3%. The currency is halved in value over 12 months. A civil war between government troops and Kabila opponents is raging in the heart of the country, where at least 80 mass graves have been discovered since last year, and more than 1 million people have been displaced. 2 United Nations experts sent to investigate the mass killings were killed in March. Violence has spread to Kinshasa. So far, Mr. Kabila enjoys the protection of his formidable presidential guard, a fiercely loyal personal army of some 40,000 members who carry out brutal crackdowns at his bidding. He has all these stopgaps to delay the elections, said Jason K. Stearns. He hasn't been able to change the constitution to stay in power, or find a successor that he trusts, so he's left playing for time. The government even accused Belgium of plotting to overthrow Mr. Kabila, and recently threatened to oust my good friend, His Excellency Bart Ouvry, the European Union ambassador to Congo, who's Belgium. We are threatened from all sides, Mr. Kifuntwe. The country provided him with easy money, made him feel invincible, said Francis Colombo, who knew Mr. Kabila as a young man, and was once one of his closest advisors before a falling out in 2015, so why leave? The Congolese people are cowards, Mr. Kabila told him, according to his former friend. You just need to fire 4 or 5 gunshots for them to scurry back into their homes. Mr. Kabila is a businessman, and Congo is just about making deals. The Congolese people, he said, are nothing to him. And obviously the game here is après moi, le déluge. On the 6th of June 2016, I was talking about how Kabila outwitted Katumbi by removing him from the street and the Congo entirely. And I said that might well prove a cleverly administered technical knockout. But I want to take you to another quote, but before I go there, let me go back to that article. The Congolese people are cowards, Mr. Kabila told him, according to his former friend. You just need to fire 4 or 5 gunshots for them to scurry back into their homes. Paul Virilio says the revolutionary contingent attains its ideal form not in the place of production, but in the street, where for a moment it stops being a cog in the technical machine and itself becomes a motor, a machine of attack. In other words, a producer of speed. And the point is, he doesn't think they'll ever produce any speed. Arson attacks stoke political crisis in Zambia. This is in the Financial Times. Lots of concerns about what's happening there. Mysterious blaze that destroyed Zambia's biggest market this month was still smouldering when President Edgar Lungu invoked emergency powers to prevent further sabotage. He blamed it on the opposition. Take a look at that article, it's in depth, worth reading. The state airline SAA has asked South Africa for $772 million. And we're seeing a significant deterioration in these SEOs. 177 farm attacks and 63 farm murders thus far in 2017 in South Africa. South African all share up 7.59% year to date. Dollar rand back above 13 at 13.0680. Time to lighten up, the ZAR. Egyptian pound firm as you like at 17.93. Reuters are reporting that they were unable to verify the authenticity of the photograph of President Buhari meeting ABC officials in London. Officials still refuse to disclose details of Buhari's illness, but having seen him up close and personal at TCAT, and he looked very yellow, it's probably a kidney problem. Nigeria all share up 32.22% year to date. May 2017, I started writing about how Africa was playing catch up. Look at that. Ghana Stock Exchange up 32.87% year to date. In just 3 days, Acacia has lost 42% of its value. Acacia reiterated that it has fully declared all revenues. The stock sank as much as 17% on Tuesday, the lowest since December 2013. In just 3 days, the company has lost 42% of its value. And I said $190 billion, which is what the Tanzanian government is claiming, is so incredible, it is prima facie not credible. As a negotiating position, it's so extreme, it's egregious. Demolitions gather pace in the heart of the Ethiopian capital. This is about from 2009 to 2015, the city expropriated about 400 hectares of inner city land and tore down a total of 23,151 dilapidated houses. At the same time, land in central Addis Ababa shot up in value, providing an added incentive for rapid redevelopment. There is high demand for land from private and government investors. We have to prepare Addis's land to deliver this. Saying that the way they handle it is not that great. Hennessy pushes cognac into Kenya. This is an interesting story on Bloomberg. Hennessy, the world's largest maker of cognac, has started distributing its products in Kenya to tap Africa's second largest luxury goods market. It began distributing its products in the Kenyan capital in May, plans to use the city as a hub for regional distribution. CEO Bernard Payon said in an interview in Nairobi, a bottle of Hennessy cognac retails for as much as $1,127 in the city's shops. Kenya is a boost market, the next emerging market frontier for us, said Payon. The company is targeting double-digit sales growth, he said, without specifying targets. Kenya was Africa's second largest market for luxury goods in 2016, with a revenue of about $500 million, up 25% from a year earlier, according to a report by New World Wealth. The country ranked behind South Africa's $2.3 billion market and ahead of Nigeria, it said. Brands like Hennessy are expanding their reach on the continent to tap into growing numbers of middle-class and rich people. Kenya, where luxury brands include Bentley, Porsche, and Rolex already available, has 9,400 millionaires, the fourth highest number behind South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria. Hennessy sells cognac in 140 countries. Our role is to figure out what might happen in the world, to have a vision of what could become Kenya, and we are positive. I'm here in Kenya, so it is a clear sign of commitment and interest. I like the photograph they put up, and that, of course, took me to one of my favorite quotes from Richard Kapuscinski. There is a lot of warmth in an old cognac, a lot of sun that will go to one's head calmly without hurry. National Bank has reported first half earnings per share down 42.574%. They're obviously subject of an all-share bid by KCB. Loans and advances to customers was down 11.977%. Loan loss provision down 85.451%. EPS was 58 cents a share. Total NPL and advances was up 5.133%. No interim dividend. Cash and cash equivalents at the end of this reporting period significantly up at 3.55 billion shillings. My piece over the weekend was about the age of disruption. And then I saw this article, bankers ditch fat salaries to chase digital currencies. Riches, age of disruption. Things that didn't exist in 2006, age of disruption. Vinod Khosla said the future is not seen in the rearview mirror. He was not wrong. Kenya shilling is at 103.885. Nairobi all shares up 17.78% this year, closed at a fresh 24-month high. Semia Africa reported first half earnings per share down 93.75%. They still have not properly dimensioned their core tire business. Safaricom is up 27.78% on a total return basis this year and underpins the bull move in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Uchumi's recent price surge has been entirely and inversely correlated to Nakumatt's demise. It's up 62.22% so far this month. NSE 20 up 17.06% year to date, and that's a fresh 13-month high. Once again, thank you for stopping by.